Hi, in this tutorial, I'll talk about how to set up dispatcher on Windows machine. So as part of this tutorial, I will explain how to install Apache Web Server 32-bit and how to set dispatcher on that Apache 32-bit on Windows machine. So before I start, you must understand the versions of software I will be using. So I will be installing Apache 2.2 32-bit. You must have a question here, why Apache 2.2 and 32-bit? Because current version is 2.4 and we should use 64-bit because most of the machines work properly or perfectly on 64-bit architecture. But the problem here is Adobe discontinued dispatcher module for Apache 2.4 64-bit on Windows machine. So I will be using the old versions of dispatcher module which was meant for Apache 2.2 and 32-bit web server. So I'll be using dispatcher 4.2.1 which is I will be installing on Apache 32-bit server. As I said, you won't find dispatcher for Apache 2.4. If you go to this download page, Adobe Experience download page, you will find multiple versions of dispatcher module. But for Windows, you will find only one, which is Windows 32-bit for Apache 2.2. Rest of the other modules you will see for Windows, but those are for Microsoft IIS web server. So I will be using this, and you can download Apache web server through this link that is available. I'll give you link in description. So we will be using this 32-bit, no SSL. I want to keep it very simple initially for you so that you can configure easily. I will be using this version and dispatcher 4.2.1 32-bit. So because on Windows it's the installable file, you just simply double click and you can install it. So go here, accept. You can name anything for your domain and host name. Just name it anything and just do next. Okay, typical. And now this is one thing you have to make a change here. It's up to you. If you need, you can do it, or you can leave it as it is. For me, because it will by default install C program files and this folder. So if you see here, there's a lot of white spaces in this path. So what I'll do, I'll change this directory. Okay, I'll change this directory and I will install this straight away in C drive. Just name, create a folder Apache 2. Okay, and I'll use this folder for the installation here. Right now you can install. Now this web server will be installed C colon Apache 2 folder. And it will install quickly. So it's done. You see this monitor here running, it's running here. So if you now hit, by default it installed on port 80 because we did not change port. If you hit localhost colon 80, then you will get some response from the default file. So if I hit, you will see it works. If you have latest version of Apache 2.4, you will get some other page. But for now, that means your installation is done. Apache has been installed. Now let's go back and see what is there in that installation file. So you have to go to C drive and Apache 2, right? There's so many folders you will find here. The important is conf folder, okay? Now let's see what we get in that dispatcher. So once you download that from the Adobe software distribution page, you will find this. If you extract this, you will find one DLL, which is the dispatcher module for Apache 2.2 on Windows machine, and you will find some sample files as well. So we'll see these sample files. Now you have to use this module and the sample file to set up dispatcher over this server, and I'll try to keep it very simple so that first time you can do it very easily. So first thing what you have to do, copy this. You have to move this module in the Apache servers modules, because Apache server is having modular architecture. You can keep adding modules whatever you need. So just copy and go to where our Apache server is, and you will find modules here. It's not necessary to keep it here. You can keep it any other folder as well. Whenever we load this module in configuration, we'll give the path as per where we are keeping it. So just paste it here. Now I just copied here. Now you must understand what is the starting point of your web server. So for Apache 2.2, the starting point is if you go to the conf and you'll find a file called httpd. This is the starting point of your web server. So let's open it in any text editor because we are using Windows, so you can easily open in text editor. All right. So you will see a lot of configuration here. Right. Processing a start here. It is saying listening to port 80. So the configuration which we will be using here, you will see a lot of modules has been loaded here. So we will make an entry for our dispatcher at end of these modules, right? We will make one entry for dispatcher. So if you see here, I have added. So what I'm saying, load module, I just name it, and from modules, and what is the name of module? You just save it. To make any configuration or any change effective, you must restart your Apache server. So what you have to do, you can come here in taskbar icons, you will find one icon here running, because I have already installed 2.4 as well, so you will see 2 here. So for this tutorial I'm using 2.2, so I will just restart it. If your restart works, that means it has accepted your module, dispatcher module. There is no issue at all. So I just restarted and it's already up again. So that means our module is already installed in server. Means server has accepted our module. So along with dispatcher module, you will get some files as well. So you will get the sample files here in this http.conf.dis2. It will have some sample configuration, and the dispatcher.ini will be having your configurations, right? So I'll add the configurations. So now we have added module, dispatcher module, but we have to provide information where are our configuration files for this dispatcher. So to add configurations means to provide information where the configuration files are, you have to add a if module. Okay, this is specific to server, and you mention what is the module disp, this one, dispatcher. Now you have to provide some basic configurations. What is that? First is dispatcher configurations. So this is the basic configuration of your dispatcher where your dispatcher start looking for. Okay, so it is under conf and dispatcher.ini. If you see the folder what you received means from the Adobe software distribution, you will get this file as well, simple file. So you need just copy file under conf folder. Next is dispatcher logs. Where are the dispatcher logs? So I'm saying log and then dispatcher.log. So this file will be created under logs. If you see, there is a folder already logs in your Apache installation directory, it will create. Now dispatcher log level. If you already worked on AEM, there are log level like info, error, debug, trace. So we have some log level as well. Log level 3 is like debug. Log 4 means level 4 is for trace. We will see this in detail. For now, just keep it, have it. Then some few other configurations, right? So this is basically now we provided these are the configurations for this dispatcher module. Okay, so using line 129, we have loaded dispatcher module, and from line 133 to line 147, we provided the configuration file where dispatcher should look the configuration files and give instructions to Apache about the action. But still, we did not tell dispatcher where to look these configurations. We have provided these configurations. We have added dispatcher module, but we need to tell dispatcher, say these are the configuration file and you should look for the configuration file here. So that we have to add a directory tag here. So I have added a directory tag here. Directory tag is used for Apache. It is used to enclose a group of directives that will be applied to the named directory, means this directory, any subdirectory, and the files under this directory. So what we are saying here the configurations, okay, here the directory, and this is for this Apache. If you see here, this name and this name is same, it must be name. Now if you go inside, what I'm saying, set handler. Set handler is a dispatcher handler. So what I'm saying here, it forces, or again I'm saying, it forces all the matching files to be processed by this handler. So what I'm saying, whenever you find these files, these should be processed by this handler, dispatcher handler. And what is dispatcher handler? This is the dispatcher. Okay, now I'm telling here whatever you find here, these should be processed using this dispatcher. Okay, and how I'm saying, using this line, set handler. So in this directory, I'm setting handler and saying whatever the configurations you find here, these should be processed or these should be handled using this module, which is dispatcher. Okay, now we are done with these configurations. Now one thing left, we added here dispatcher configuration file, which is dispatcher.ini, but we did not add this file. So what we'll do, we'll take the sample file what we got while downloading the dispatcher, and we'll keep it here so that this can be loaded as per this configuration. Okay, just take this file from here and go to my installation directory, Apache 2, and conf, and just copy this file, paste. Okay, few things you must understand still here, because those are already updated when I created, so you must go again here. All right, document root, you must see document root, you should have your installation directory, because I added this as the time of installation, I updated the path, so that's why you are seeing the correct path. If you get the sample configuration from somewhere, you must check your path is correct, server root path is correct. Okay, other than this, you don't need to update anything. These just few configurations and you are done. These are the simplest configuration you can make. Okay, now let's go to the dispatcher.ini. Okay, so this is my dispatcher.ini file. It has a farm tag. Okay, okay, in this we'll see, I just simply copy paste this file whatever I received from Adobe as per the part of dispatcher module. So just save it. Okay, so now I'm done with my configurations. If I need to restart my server, if my server restarted properly, that means it accepted my configurations, and otherwise I should get some error in error.logs. So let me restart this. So I see restart is successful. Now I should get some files. So if I go here and check logs, I must see a dispatcher logs. Okay, dispatcher logs has been created now. So if I configure dispatcher correctly, I should see it should work through port 80. So what I'll do, I'll just copy. I already have my publish instance running. So what I'll do, I will remove it, right? Because default port is 80. So if I hit localhost, it will itself, the request will go to 80. So if everything is correct, I should see the response. Okay, so when I hit this, I got some error. That means we have some problem. So how we can debug this? Go back to your dispatcher logs. Okay, go back here, go to the logs, and first check dispatcher and access log. So I will see the dispatcher log first. Okay, so if you see till here, it installed properly, but when I start getting content, I make this request page, which is correct. Okay, and it check the cache here, which is, if you see this path is not Windows machine path. Okay, this is a wrong path. That means there's some configuration we missed, we did not do it. So let's go back and check that. So go to the dispatcher dispatcher.any, and if you see the caching section, because array means that error was saying there is some problem with the caching. Okay, I'll don't worry, I'll explain this but for initially, at least to run dispatcher, what you must know, go here, and if you see this cache section and you see the doc root, what is that doc root? Basically this is the path where cache will be creating. I will explain in a minute what are those different attributes. Okay, so just change the path to the Windows machine path, means the folder you want to create cache. Okay, so I have updated this path. The what I'm saying now, doc root is C Apache htdocs. Htdocs is the folder in my Apache server. So now let me restart and see if it works. Okay, so restart is successful. If I hit this, I should get response, and you see now this response is coming from dispatcher, because you're seeing here I'm not using 4503. And 4503, this is the page. Now you will be seeing some differences here. In AEM you will see the upper sections, means header, but here you don't see the header. And so there, now you must see other configurations. I will discuss the configuration in detail in a separate tutorials, but I will explain at a high level what are you need to know initially. One more thing you will notice here, the client libraries are not loading properly. Okay, some of are loading, some of are not. So we'll see what is the reason for that. We'll cover everything in a short section where I will be explaining the sections at a high level. Now let's understand at a high level how the processing start. When Apache server load this httpd conf, this is the starting point. First it load all the modules along with our module dispatcher. When these lines comes in, I'll tell these are the configuration for dispatcher. When this directory comes in, we are saying for this directory, whenever you found this module, set handler dispatcher, means set handler to process these configurations. And what we are setting? We are setting dispatcher. So here the handler is set it at a dispatcher for these configurations. So now the pointer comes to these configurations. Here I'm saying what is the dispatcher configuration. Now these tags or attributes are specific to dispatcher. This module reads these attributes. Okay, reads these directives. So this dispatcher config read by this one. Okay, this module is reading, and this module interpret those configurations and give instructions to Apache. So starting point is conf d, right? Conf dispatcher. So you must see first it will go to this file. Basically we have only this file for configuration. Now let's go to this file and see what sections it has. This is my configuration file. So in general term, in AEM dispatcher configuration, we used to call it farm files. So you will see a farm attribute here. Now it's website, right? This configuration is for one website. Okay, we'll see what is that. Don't worry, we in coming tutorial we'll see in detail. For now, let's understand what each section or attribute does. Client headers, basically these are what are the headers you are allowing. Right now I give star, that means all the headers will be allowed. Virtual host, this is important. Virtual host define which domain is mapped or resolved to which content. Let's say you have multiple websites running on the same server, and multiple websites has multiple domains. So each domain means which domain will be mapped to which content. That is done by virtual host. Okay, we'll see that in detail. Don't worry about it. So let's say I'm running abc and xyz.com. So I will map different domain with different content. Okay, so what I'm doing for now, I have added a star here. That means all the incoming request, whether from the any domain, okay, all the incoming request will be mapped to this virtual host. You will be having multiple virtual hosts for multiple domains, means the multiple server names. So what happened, when you have multiple host configuration that resolve to a single machine, means you are having multiple website hosting it. So it define which website is mapped to what. We'll see that in detail, don't worry, because right now I gave star, that means all the incoming traffic will be handled by this one. Now you know which domain you are handling, so all the incoming requests from domain will be handled this. But how you will define from where you will be getting that content for that request? Okay, so that is defined by this renderers. So what I'm saying, okay, any request comes in, so from that request, how I will be giving response with data? So it says, okay, go back, go to the renderers and get the content from here. So where I'm defining renderers and that one render one and the host name, this one. So where I'm defining here, this is the AEM instance from which you should get data, means you should get content. You can have multiple here, and when you have multiple, this Apache decide for which AEM instance it will send that request. But that's we'll discuss in coming tutorials. There are there are a lot of algorithms which actually Apache server use, that is out of scope of this out of scope of this series. Now we know we got request and we know from where we are getting response, from we are getting content. But all the request we don't want to go to the AEM server, right? Now we are saying, no, I don't want all the requests should go to AEM server. I need some restrictions. I will define what kind of request will go to the AEM server. So that we will define in filter section, right? So what we are saying, disable means deny every request. Don't worry, I'll not explain much here. We will have a separate section. But you must understand what kind of request you want to go to AEM. You will be defining here, right? Now you are done with defining rules like which request will go to AEM. Now you don't want every time same request go to AEM. You want caching. So in next section you see cache here. Here you are saying, okay, please cache these requests. If this kind of request comes in, cache this. Okay, cache this in a particular directory. So we are defining all the cache related configuration in this section. Okay, now cache invalidation related configuration you will pass in invalidate section. We'll see that in detail. This is very important. Now allow clients. This is also important. I'll not discuss right now because you will be overloaded with the information. Ignore URL params, headers. There are a lot of information, right? We'll see everything in detail. So this kind of information is available. Now if I refresh this, as I said, there are, you don't see CSS, you don't see some other content. So what I'll do for now, because you will be setting up, go to the rules here. Let me remove these comments. Okay, in these configuration, whenever everything start from hash, that is a comment. Okay, that is not working instruction. So let me remove this. So what I'm doing, rather than deny everything, what I'm saying, okay, allow everything. This is not the right practice, but because you are just setting up, just allow everything so that you can see the response. Okay, save this, allow everything. In filters I'm saying allow everything, whatever the request is, just allow. So and now restart this. Okay, restart is successful. So if I hit now, I must see a complete page. So now you will seeing all the page is loaded. All the sections of the page has been loaded. So there must be a cache now. Let's check the cache as well. So cache, go to the directory and you must see htdocs, the path we defined for the cache. You will see these files. These are cache. So cache has been created. Now the response is coming from the cache itself. The steps might be confusing for you. Even I try to keep it very simple with minimum configurations. But at the end, let's see what we did. I copy dispatcher module in Apache modules. I copy dispatcher.ini to conf folder /conf. I updated httpd.conf with two configurations, one to load module and another two sections of configurations for dispatcher. I updated dispatcher.ini only to update the cache path where I want to cache it. Otherwise, these are the simplest configuration. I'll leave you the link where you can download the dispatcher, and if you have access obviously, and the Apache server, and I will leave you these two files. If you install your Apache in C/Apache 2, you can straightforward copy paste those files and your dispatcher will start working. If you have any question, please do comment. Thank you.